And I just went, you know what? I need to let people know that the power that they can do with their mind, or what their mind can do for them.
So today on the line, I've got Ellie Raven with me, and Ellie did one of our courses last year in November. And so I'm really excited to have Ellie back on the line, having a chat with me, having a catch up. So welcome, Ellie.
Thanks, Tanya. It's lovely to be here. It's nice to see you too.
Yeah, it's so awesome to catch up with you. So I thought today, Ellie, will start by maybe just sharing a little bit about your personal journey of how you found out about hypnotherapy and maybe how it's helped you personally.
Sure, not a problem. So my background in sort of coming to hypnotherapy is I started with things like Reiki and crystal healing and sound healing. I kind of became very proficient in energy healing. And what I was doing is I was getting a lot of healing done on me. And I felt like every time I was getting this healing done, I didn't feel like I was getting any better. Right.
Okay.
And I felt like even though I was getting all of this work done and I felt amazing after these sessions, I would just basically keep defaulting back to who I was being. And it just didn't feel like I was doing anything. I felt like it was becoming a bit of a Band-Aid solution. And although I'm actually, qualified in these modalities, I kind of felt like they're great. They help you. They're really beautiful energy healing modalities. But what I was finding is that I kept falling into patterns. I kept feeling the same. Nothing in my life was changing. And I was getting sick and tired of feeling the way I was feeling. My relationships weren't flourishing. My business wasn't flourishing. I wasn't flourishing. Like, I was feeling just tired and getting quite over it. I was trying things like affirmations. Now, I did a lot of self-development work on myself. But what I found is I had all these, I had gotten really far with where I could get on my own, but I kept having these chronic mindset things from like not feeling good enough, not feeling like I could get where I wanted to go. It kept interrupting me, and it was just really irritating me. And I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to try hypnotherapy, because it was something that had been on my mind, but I kind of had been putting it off because I like to think that I can do everything on my own with my mind, being strong-minded. So I went down the path of acquiring some sessions with a reputable hypnotherapist. And I had some online sessions done. I had about 4 sessions done, and we spoke about some of the blocks that I had, fear of with personal relationships, letting people close to me, all of these sorts of things that I was kind of getting tripped up on, and some negative beliefs that I kind of had about myself that I couldn't trip up. Didn't matter how many affirmations I did, didn't matter how many times I wrote or journaled about it or spoke about it, I just couldn't shift it, right? So he did 4 sessions with me, and then after 4 weeks, it's like it never happened. Like, I literally went from having these dwelling, overwhelming thoughts to kind of them sort of going away slightly, then slightly feeling better, and then sort of feeling free. And I was like,
Amazing.
This is so amazing. It was so freeing for me, because it had been something that had plagued me for years. My self-esteem, the way I felt about myself, the way I would talk to myself, the way I think people saw me. There was all of these things that would stop me from actually feeling like I could achieve what I needed to, or how I felt about myself. And it was just having this annoying brain chatter that I used to feel, that when that was lifted, it was so freeing for me. And I thought to myself, I've been getting Reiki done and all of these modalities, which I love, but I didn't feel like I was shifting because I wasn't healing. My mind wasn't healing, so I wasn't healing. So after I had that done, within 2 months, it's like my energy shifted, my mindset shifted, and I just didn't feel like I was kind of overridden by these emotions anymore.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into experiencing hypnotherapy. And then when I sort of went down that road, I'm like, my clients need to experience this. This is an amazing tool. And I just went, you know what? I need to let people know that the power that they can do with their mind, or what their mind can do for them, and how their, past versions of them are stopping them and they're not realizing it. And that's why I kind of went down to learning, and hence how I booked into your course and ended up down there. So yeah, that's how I came across hypno, and yeah.
Okay. And so Ellie already had a successful business before she contacted us to learn hypnotherapy. So do you want to share, Ellie, about what you are currently doing?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So well, I have an online platform on YouTube and on also TikTok. I have quite a few followers on there under my branding of Ali Raven. So I've got quite well known on there for my tarot channel. I also have a new channel on there called Evolve with Ali, which is more around the mindset and hypnotherapy side of things. But I was mainly known around that. That's how I had set up my business. I've got around sort of 20,000 followers on there. People were sort of following me for my tarot content. And I do tarot readings just to read sort of energy. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. So I use tarot to really look at the snapshot of where people are in their life at this point in time. I don't believe in predictions. I look at it as, where are you at? Where do you need to work on? And where can we go? Or what do you need to look at and shift? And so a lot of people come to me for honest, blunt readings to see where they're at and what they need to shift and change so they can move forward. So that's how I use tarot, and that's how people know me. And that's where I kind of started getting my online clientele. But I also did have a practice in running Reiki, sound, and crystal healing. I did it holistically. So I was running an energy healing business, but because most of my business has gone mostly online now, so that's how I kind of ended up getting into this. But yeah, I did have that running, but I just felt like this modality of hypnotherapy, and also I had studied NLP, would really benefit my clients because they were kind of relying on that, just trying to battle it with mindset, and they were getting stuck. So I went, look, if I can help them shift, it's just an extra thing that I can provide to my clients and help them move on.
Yeah, perfect. And I remember when you contacted me and you told me about what you were currently doing and how you felt that your clients just in that mindset were just stuck. And you'd already figured out that hypnotherapy was a way that you were going to be able to move them out of that. And that's why you wanted to learn.
Yeah. So most of the time I kind of, with what I do, I try to look at where the person's at, emotionally. And if I can shift them with just a reading, fantastic. If I can just give them a reading and all they need is a different perspective, that's amazing. Like sometimes people just need that fresh pair of eyes or different perspective or framing something differently, and that's enough. But most of the time, a lot of people become stuck in patterns like codependency and, feeling like they just can't get where they want to go. And a lot of the voices they're hearing are not even their own. They're just programs of what they've been told to believe, or bad experiences of things where, they've kind of been made to feel that way, maybe their childhood, maybe things that have happened in their life, and they just become stuck. And you try to shift them out of these, hey, you need to kind of try to move out of this because it's not serving you, it's not true, but they just can't, because it's not like they're trying to do it. It's just because they believe that that's who they are. It's like they've kind of just, it's like their default setting in their mind. And that's kind of where the trip up was happening, and the stuckness that we were talking about was quite frustrating to see. You're seeing this beautiful, amazing client that you kind of want to have this amazing life, and you want them to sort of be able to get where they want to go, open that business, have that relationship, go like conquer whatever it is that they want, but they just can't mentally do it. And you're like, you just want to go, can you snap out of it? But they just can't because they don't have the capacity to. And that's just sad to watch. And that's what I was talking to you about.
Yeah, that's right. And even for your own journey, I mean, you had an awareness that you had these negative patterns that were not serving you anymore. And that's where you figured out, hey, I've got to go into that subconscious mind to rewire those patterns. But a lot of the people I'm assuming that you see don't necessarily have that awareness that that's the key.
I think that's quite true. A lot of them don't have the awareness because there's two. I find this is a kind of like a two-pronged approach that I've kind of see it. It's either one or the other, right? One of them is you've got people like myself that are quite self-aware, that are trying to work on themselves. They might have even gotten a heap of therapy. They might have gone and seen a psychiatrist, psychologist. They're trying to better their mental health, and they're doing all of the right things. They might have been diagnosed with something to help them try to identify where the pattern or the beliefs came from. Okay, but what a lot of the time it's kind of like they might have been diagnosed with something, but they kind of have this belief that that's all they'll ever be and how they'll always be. Right? They kind of have this belief that I have to live like this because I'm this, right? And they kind of get stuck into that kind of conditioning. And that's the sad thing, because it's not, even though you have these, very legitimate diagnosed conditions, which are amazing to know what they are. And mental health professionals are very necessary, right? The thing is that a lot of them get stuck in what they don't even realize is victim mindset. Okay, they don't know they're doing it, right? They went, oh well, I went and got diagnosed, so there's nothing I can do about it, because they don't know what they can do, and that's the sad thing. Or they might be trying to do affirmations, techniques, kind of like what I was doing, and I had an awareness. So we both, both in this case, we both got awareness of who we are. One is falling into victim mindset. The other one's trying to change it with things like affirmations, trying to do repetition with the conscious mind, but it's not working because the default setting in the background, which is a subconscious mind, is overriding everything I'm trying to do. And that's where I kind of went to acquire hypnotherapy myself, because I had the awareness, but I was getting frustrated because I couldn't beat it, right? So you got these two types of people that are kind of trying to work on themselves with awareness, but in different ways, right? And then you've got the clients which are sort of not aware at all. They're kind of just they've got the blame mindset, that they kind of think, oh, it's because of that I'm like that. They've been told that things are outside of them and they can't fix it, right? And when they feel less than, they kind of look at, oh well, all people are the same, nothing works out for me. And it's a boo-hoo mentality, which is another form of victim mindset, but they haven't realized that it's just old paradigms and conditioning that they have not realized have got them there. And when they can actually sort of shift themselves out of this mind and realize that everything that they are actually thinking about is a lens that they're looking through it, their life begins to change. And that's where I think, for me, it was a big thing for the awareness and the stuckness and the bringing that shift into people is where I really am really passionate about.
Yeah, perfect. And so did you find it hard to learn?
Hard to learn hypnotherapy or
Yeah.
hard to learn? Yeah. No. I think, with the way Paul and Tanya from the Academy run the courses, it's quite easy to follow. It's very hands-on. So you've got a lot of support because you've got all of them there. And you're also working with, fellow students as well. You both don't know what you're doing when you're walking in, but you're given scripts, you're given direction, you're given time, and you're given experience too, because you sit there and, you're given the guidance. And yeah, you kind of walk in there with deer in the headlights, but it's not anything that if I can conquer it, anyone can sort of learn. And I think anyone from any background would be able to pick it up, especially because your courses are very hands-on. And even if someone's not very academic, like myself, like I don't like to read to learn something. I like to practice it. So for me, that course that I did with you was very fitting, because I got to just, okay, tell me what I need to do and how I need to do it and just show me what I need to do. And I just kind of went, this is okay. And then I just had a few runs, from the first certificate course, I felt a bit clunky through to the second, the diploma that we did. I was kind of going, oh, okay, I feel like it's, I'm swimming in this now. It feels like second nature. So it's just time, repetition and exposure. And I feel like it's not anything difficult to learn at all. No.
Yeah, perfect. Because I'm speaking to people all the time that have got that mindset that this is going to be hard. And so I'm trying to break that and let everybody know that it's just a skill that you learn, just like any other skill.
And it's also a fear that they don't know what to expect,
That's
like
right.
It's kind of like, it's bigger than me. Well, I don't know what I'm going. It's nothing, it's also as well, Tanya, when you work on clients, and we had that joke, we, make them quack like a duck and bark
Yeah.
like a dog. We don't do that. It's not what we do. Most of the time our clients are conscious enough to kind of almost remember what's going on. They don't,
Yep.
we don't make them do ridiculous things. So it's just a fear or a misconception half the time, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it sure is. And I mean, the fact that you went through to diploma level and you already had a lot of intuitive abilities, you already had your Reiki healing, and then we introduced you to the mesmerism and magnetism. So talk to everybody about how you found that and how you've been able to incorporate that into what you were already doing.
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of working on, quite a few students there, and I've also been using it with my clients now with mesmerism. The thing is with me, with the Reiki and the energy healing I've done, I did a bit of energy healing on you, Tanya, too, I remember.
Yes, you did.
I was like, I remember we were sitting in the course and I was looking at Tanya. I'm like, you've got this pain on your neck and I can feel it. I just kept
And I
looking at
sure
you.
did. I had major pain in my neck and I hadn't told anybody.
I was staring at you the whole course that morning and I'm like, there is this pain. I need to remove it. And I kept staring at her. I'm like, I need to. And then when everyone had walked out of the room, I actually asked her and she's like, what? How did you know? You know, it was like so weird. So yeah, so I did some of that energy work, and I've always had that Reiki and crystal healing and sound healing and intuitiveness that I do. But the thing is with the mesmerism is it kind of allowed me to realize that I could have, it's actually the power of hypnotizing without words, which was something that I hadn't really realized. And I was kind of like, when Tanya had taught it through the course, I was like, oh, I kept thinking of all of the sessions of Reiki I could have used this in with clients. And I was like, oh my God, this would have been so much more. Because with a really good thing about this technique is if you've got someone that's not a talker, it's really good. You know, you can actually go in and just knock it out. But a lot of people, there's a bit of fear around it. But I do think that this modality will work really well with people that are quite into energy healing because they'll be more open and receptive to it. But I do feel like some people may fear it because of the whole energetic thing, and they may want to go down the traditional hypno path. So the fact that you've got both modalities and both options really works with whatever type of client you are working with. If you've got someone that is more energetically driven, you can go down the mesmerism path. If you've got, you know, more of the I need to be logically minded client, the hyper analytical type client, or one that's a bit nervous, then you can go down the spoken word hypnotherapy route as well. So it's been good for both.
Yeah, perfect. And we helped you guys sort of normalize it, didn't we? That it wasn't a woo-woo or a strange thing that you were learning. This is something that's been done since the 1800s, and there is actually something physical happening when you're doing it. And so that's what we want to do. We want to take out the woo-woo-ness, the spiritualness out of all of it, because it's not, it's scientific. Something scientific is happening to get a person into that trance without words.
Well, you're really you're doing a similar thing when you're having, you know, healing done through Reiki, kinesiology, pranic healing, what other sound healing, you know, any sort of what they call vibrational healing, right? That is an energetic form of healing. And all we are doing in any sort of, you know, even Reiki, crystal healing, all of those sorts of modalities, it's all intention and shifting of energies and movement, right? All we're doing is clearing out and realigning. We're just moving the hard energy out, and we're sort of realigning you to kind of be more of a clearer channel where you've got blockages. And energy is a real thing. Scientifically, we know that that energy is real. So we're not going in and doing any bippity boppity boo type techniques with you and, you know, kind of casting you under some magical spell or anything like that. And anyone that does promise you anything like that, run from, okay? Because you shouldn't think that anything outside of you should have any power over you. That is just anyone that's marketing you like that, please run from them. Any type spell casting client, like anything like that, steer clear of these type of modalities because they're usually disingenuous. They're trying to take your money and take the power outside of you because then you keep relying on them.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
So, but when we're working with things like mesmerism, we're just moving energies, we're just moving just stuck and stagnant energy. That's all we're doing. And that's what mesmerism does. We're just looking in, going and moving it around, and you know, that's all it is. But I think there's a bit of a fear around it because it's an unspoken technique.
Yes.
And when some people see it, and it's quite full on when you're looking through someone's eyes to do that, can be a little bit unnerving for some.
Yeah, completely agree. But as you start to practice it with one another, when we show you just the basic step-by-step process of how to do it, I think you start to realize very, very quickly, oh, okay, I get what this is because I'm doing it.
Well, for me, it felt like second nature, Tanya. Like you saw me, I was kind of just going, oh, if I would have known this before, and I was mucking around with it. Whereas, and it felt like just an extension of my intuitive ability as to my healing, you know, the healing techniques I had already known. And it kind of felt like a different way of healing someone energetically for me. That was all it was. For me, it felt like second nature, but then I felt like with some of my fellow students, they kind of were realizing how to feel energy. You know, when they were sort of kind of standing next to me, I was like, ooh, what's that sort of sensation I feel with my hands? And realizing how actually intuitive we all are. But once we actually put it into practice, it's not as hard as we think it is, because we're actually tapping into it and learning how to work with it, and it's nothing scary, right?
That's right.
So watching people at all different levels for me was interesting, because I think for me the spoken stuff was less. It was. I felt like I took some more like a duck to water with the intuitive stuff that I do with the spoken stuff, because that was my sort of second nature stuff. But then you watch others that were more analytical, that were more kind of with the spoken word stuff. So it was really interesting watching how they took on the energetics as well. But yeah.
Okay, awesome. So if there's people out there at the moment that are watching this and they're looking for help, Ellie, what sort of main things do you find that you're helping people with at the moment?
For me, it's actually first the awareness level, you know, realizing that a lot of the time that the way you think and the way you feel is not really necessarily your fault. It's just the way you feel like you've been told that you are. So the awareness is a really big thing, is actually bringing people to the awareness of where their minds might be at is one thing I feel like I'm doing a lot of at the moment. And then once we've actually got that awareness, sometimes I'm doing that just with reshifting the mindset focus. So just working with them with personal development style coaching. But most of the time it's a lot of deep-seated stuff like traumatic memories, a lot of like programming, like conditioning, where their parents haven't told them that they're feeling like they're good enough, or they've been mistreated through relationships, through a bad upbringing, or bad dynamics with parents, partners, different trauma things that might have happened to them in their past. So a lot of these traumatic memories, we're going in and either stopping the memory or stopping the programming and the belief system. So the belief system is something that I'm actually working a lot more with. So I am not that person just because I think I am. Yep. Okay. So that's what I'm using a lot of hypnotherapy with, is going in and saying, just because you feel or you've been told you're this, you are not that, and you can be different. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that's what I feel like I'm doing a lot of at the moment.
Okay, cool. And so if people are looking for help, how do they find you, Ellie?
So they can find me through TikTok. I've got my TikTok channel, which is Ali Raven, ELIRAVEN. Or you can find me on Facebook. I do have a page. Otherwise, I've got another channel on TikTok, Evolve with Ali, also YouTube as well. You can find me on there. Or you can just email me, and I'm sure you can find me if you just do a quick Google, or you find me on any of those platforms. I'd love to work with anyone, but that's how you kind of get in touch with me.
Yeah, perfect.
And I work online, so it doesn't matter where you are, I'm here. Okay.
And do you work in person as well, or just online currently?
I can arrange in person if necessary. I'm based in Melbourne, so you know, at the moment that's generally where I work out of. So you're welcome to travel to me. But I can arrange. I do have a spot that I do work out of Melbourne in an office. So perfect. If I do need to see you in person, I can book that timing in with you and arrange that, and we can do sessions in person if necessary, but also online. So yeah, I can do in person, but basically in Melbourne at this point.
Perfect. So we'll start to wrap this up now, Ellie, but before we do, was there anything else that you wanted to share?
I think, you know, I think the only thing I would share is that I want you to think about, you know, anyone that's kind of been a bit nervous about maybe approaching hypnotherapy or getting hypnotherapy done, or kind of thinking about the money aspect of it. I want you to think of, how long has this mindset been blocking you? How long have you been feeling the way you've been feeling? How long have you been trying to reprogram your own minds? How long have you been trying to get out of this rut? Okay. And if it's been more than, say, you know, a few months or even a year or even longer than that, what is that investment in yourself? I mean, you pay for things like insurance on your car, and you don't even think about how the car is feeling. You just do that. It's an investment in yourself to free yourself from something like that. And don't have that fear, because that what you don't realize is that paradigm of fear, that you are scared to do something, is the exact same thing that is blocking you from getting where you want to be. right? So that's what I would probably encourage people to see is how are you framing things, and what you're not doing is also what you're scared of doing is you're still not doing. It's still the same thing, but with two different views, right? So think about that and think about how much you want what you want, and then do what you need to do to get there. And if that's, considering things like hypnotherapy, then I would definitely push you in that direction, especially if you've been feeling stuck.
Yeah, love that. Amazing. Ellie comes highly recommended by us because she already had a very successful business before coming to us last year. And like we've already shared, she just added hypnotherapy on as another modality, another tool that she could use to help her clients. So if you're looking for help, we highly recommend Ellie. You can get in touch with Ellie directly. We'll have all of the links below, or you can get in touch with us and we'll put you on to Ellie. So I want to thank you so much, Ellie, for coming and having a chat with me today. It was so nice to catch up with you again. It seems like it's been so long.
I know, no, it's been a pleasure, Tanya. It's been great to catch up and, help you kind of bring and convey what hypno can do for people. I've loved having this chat, but no, it's been too long for sure.
Perfect. And next time I'm in Melbourne, I'll let you know and we'll catch up properly in person.
Absolutely. I'd love that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Ellie.
Thanks so much, Tanya. Thanks so
See
much.
ya.
Have a great day. Bye.